Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and in this video today, we're going to be talking about Tristan Wirfs and whether or not he may have a future as the Buccaneers left tackle after this 2020 season. But I am not alone in this video. Joining me today in this video is Billy from ON the C. Billy, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to talk about Tristan Wirfs, honestly.
I'm excited to have you on, man. For those of you who don't know, I will have Billy's YouTube channel linked in the description and down in the comment section below. Billy's one of my best friends, by the way. He actually started as a subscriber of mine. We met at training camp. We've known each other for a couple of years now, and he's now one of my best friends. So, I mean, it's awesome. It really is awesome. The relationship that we've been able to grow just from this YouTube channel and just from the Bucs in general. So, good stuff. But, Billy, let's not waste any further time. Let's talk about Tristan Wirfs. Okay, now Billy, I'm going to tell you a story, and I'm going to tell all the subscribers here a story as well. So, a couple of months ago, I was watching the 2010, I believe, NFL draft. Okay, the one that Cam Newton was in, and I was sitting there and I was watching it, and Gabby was here, and I was just hanging out. I had nothing else to watch, and she said, "Why are you watching the NFL draft?" And I said, "Because it's fun to watch what happened to certain draft picks and where their journeys ended up." For example, Jake Locker went to the Tennessee Titans in that draft. Oh my gosh! But as I was watching the draft, okay, yeah, Von Miller, great player. Cam Newton had some good years, and now he's, trying to rebound and all these different types of things. Julio Jones, etc., etc. And then we got to the Cowboys pick. And the Cowboys pick was really interesting. They picked Tyron Smith. And as soon as I heard the name, I remember, oh yeah, Tyron Smith. He's one of the best left tackles in the NFL, or at least he was for a time. He was the top left tackle in the NFL, and he did really good. And they asked Mike Mayock. They said, "Mike Mayock, what do you think is going to happen with Tyron Smith?" And Mike Mayock said, "Well, I think that the Cowboys are going to play him at right tackle his entire first year, and then they're going to move him to the left tackle position once he is more comfortable playing in the NFL." And I started laughing, and I thought, there's no way that happened, because Tyron Smith, of course, he's been a left tackle. He's always been a left tackle. There's no way they played him at right tackle. And then I looked it up. I got a little curious, and I thought, okay, well, let's see what happened. And sure enough, they played Tyron Smith at right tackle his entire first year, his entire rookie season. He was really good at right tackle. They said, "Now we're going to move you to left tackle." They did that, and he ended up being one of the best left tackles in the NFL for a handful of years. So I started thinking, and I started writing down some numbers, and I started making some comparisons. Now, the Buccaneers have a really good right tackle right now, and his name is Tristan Wirfs. So I thought to myself, why can't the Buccaneers do the same thing with Tristan Wirfs that the Cowboys did with Tyron Smith? So, Billy, that is what we are talking about today. And just for one more point of emphasis here, Tyron Smith, 6'5", 320 pounds is what he is billed at. Tristan Wirfs, the exact same height and weight. So, what are your initial thoughts on the story of Tyron Smith and how it could possibly compare to Tristan Wirfs?
I love it. It's so funny. I didn't know about the whole Tyron Smith thing. I didn't realize he played right tackle. That's actually a really great factoid right there. I'm very impressed. But I wrote down a very similar thought to that entire thought process, which is why it's just I'm smiling the whole time. It's so funny. That's interesting, and I absolutely see the merit in that because they're both athletic, like just athletically gifted. So they can handle being wherever because they're just going to be able to impose themselves. And obviously, yeah, Tyron Smith, he's been hurt a couple of the last years, and he's, I don't want to say fallen off, but, age and injuries have affected him. But when he was going, he was top of the top at the left tackle spot.
Yeah, I agree 100%, man. So, it's going to be interesting, right? It's borderline conspiracy theory territory, mind you, but I have some certain things that we can talk about, some certain factoids that may support this for next season. And the first thing that I want to talk about is that he did play left tackle a little bit in college football, be it a very minuscule amount. We have talked about this before personally, where he had to fill in for, an injured player at left tackle, and I feel like he did an okay job. If they moved Tristan Wirfs over to left tackle after this season, based on his experiences in college and whatnot, do you feel like he could handle it?
Yes, I absolutely feel like Tristan Wirfs can handle it. I don't even have a question in my mind that he could do it. The question I think that's worth asking, though, is it worth doing? and that's kind of a little play on words there, Wirf. But the question you started the video with is he the future, or does he have a future at left tackle for the Bucs? And my question would be off of that is, what do you consider the future to be? Is the future 2021, or is the future 2023? When does the future start? Because I don't think that what happens in 2021, I think, is very different from what's going to happen in 2024, just say.
Right. And I agree with that. And I do have some more things to kind of support the fact that this could happen as early on as next season. One of the biggest reasons is because Donovan Smith, he has no guarantees in his contract after this year. A lot of people have been critical of Donovan Smith. He's been in very up and down left tackle. He's making $14 million next season. Not guaranteed. The Buccaneers, they are going to be tight on cap space next year, not just because of the fact that they are spending a lot of money, but also because of the fact that they're going to have a lot of guys that they have to re-sign, and also because of the fact that the salary cap is being lowered next season due to, circumstances from this season. You have Levante David, Chris Godwin, Shaq Barrett, and Ndamukong Suh, and many other guys that you're going to have to bring back and give money to. A guy like Donovan Smith, he's who you're paying $14 million to. If you feel that you can cut Donovan Smith or trade Donovan Smith and then say, it's okay, I know left tackle is one of the most important positions, probably a top 3 most important position in football, but we can move Tristan Wirfs from right tackle over to left tackle. That could be a move that happens, and you save $14 million in the process. Could be a move there. What are your thoughts on that scenario?
First thing I want to say, Tristan Wirfs 100% makes Donovan Smith expendable. It's possible. It totally, what you're saying is logical, and it makes sense, and that's a big, big chunk of change to save. We all know how Donovan Smith, right? We talk about him. I call him the human turnstile. Donovan Smith has a legacy all to himself, and he becomes expendable. But I remember a quote that came out of the pre-draft where Tristan Wirfs was asked about playing left tackle because, like you talked about, he played a little bit of left tackle to fill in. He was asked about it, and he said basically he's more comfortable at right tackle, but he doesn't really care. He's kind of able to play elsewhere, and I think we can all relate to that in different aspects of our life, our job. Yeah, I'd rather be doing this, but yeah, I could do this as well if you need me to do this, right? We've all had that response at one time or another. And I like, as a rookie, they haven't moved him. They've left him there and just let him rock. And similarly to what you're talking about with Tyron Smith, that was kind of what I have here is I was going to say that I think as a rookie, you got to get your feet wet and get acquainted to the NFL before you switch anywhere out of your comfort zone. Then, moving forward, I think you could definitely make the argument that he's capable of playing left tackle. My biggest thing is I really like the way he was used at Iowa, his college. I really like the way they used him, where basically he was just playing where he's going to be his absolute best, his most comfortable. But if you need him, he can fill in anywhere. And the key difference, I would say, what the Bucs should do versus what Iowa did is carry that mentality into the offseason. So when you go into the offseason, go in knowing you have one very good tackle and you need 2. Both tackle positions are very important in today's NFL. You really need 2 guys that can handle it. So no matter what, you have got one. Tristan Wirfs is good. He's going to hold his own no matter where you put him. You should base where he goes around the other guy. Whoever's available, whoever's in the draft, on the market, what have you. You base where Tristan Wirfs goes around the weaker of the 2, which would be the other tackle, because Tristan Wirfs is likely going to be your best tackle for years to come because he looks like a stud. So I kind of felt like the Buccaneers should have him just fill in where the other person is, kind of just make up for the other person's weaknesses, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I definitely, you said it best, Tristan Wirfs is playing really well at the right tackle position. And that quote, he said that, he's obviously not comfortable playing left tackle, but he can play left tackle. He was saying that during the pre-draft process. He obviously wants to make himself as available as possible, but I think he could do it. When I look at Tristan Wirfs, and in terms of his versatility, it reminds me a lot of Ali Marpet, where you could put him anywhere along the offensive line, or even Ryan Jensen. You could put them anywhere along the offensive line, and they're going to sit there and do their job. I mean, I would say that Tristan Wirfs, and this may be a stretch, but maybe not. I mean, Tristan Wirfs is right up there in terms of the tier of play that Ryan Jensen and Ali Marpet are giving on every single game of football that they're playing together. I mean, they're top-tier offensive linemen right now, and Tristan Wirfs is playing like one of the better right tackles in the league right now. I don't think that's a crazy thing to say. So I think that he does have the ability to play anywhere along the offensive line and excel to a certain degree. While he might not be comfortable playing left tackle, I feel like he would be better than what the Buccaneers have there currently. But that is a very interesting scenario. And kind of the last thing I want to mention here, and we will have a quick talk about this. I feel that if you move Tristan Wirfs to left tackle, you mentioned there that you would have one really good tackle and that you would need two. Be it free agency, be it in the draft, however you need to get one, you need to get one. I don't think they're going to bring back DeMar Dodson. I mean, he is on a expiring deal with the Broncos, but he may retire at the end of this year, in all seriousness. Would you put Joe Haeg there? Probably not. I mean, whenever he was signed to the team, he was listed as a right guard / right tackle, but based on what we saw him and his experience playing left guard this season, not great. Not a great scenario at all. The backup right tackle right now, I don't even know if the Buccaneers necessarily, do they have a backup right tackle off the top of my head?
Do you think Wells would go over there and just kind of play swing tackle for them?
I would think that if you're starting Josh Wells at right tackle or having him be a swing tackle, it's the end of the world, But I will say this. You are going to have to find somebody because there's nobody on this team right now. Maybe Brad Seaton comes back and maybe, because he's on the COVID, he opted out for the season. Maybe he would be in a play for a starting job. He would at least be a backup. But I still feel like if you move Tristan Wirfs to the left side and you need to replace a right tackle, I would rather have to replace a right tackle than a left tackle. I feel like it'd be a little bit easier. The Bucs just proved that they are competent to replace a leaving right tackle with a very strong right tackle. That's how we got Tristan Wirfs in the first place. So be it through free agency, be it through, the draft or something like that, I feel like they could draft somebody. Jason Light really does like taking some offensive linemen in the second and third round who can prove themselves to be quality starters. Ali Marpet was a second round draft pick. Donovan Smith was a second round draft pick, which I know we're very critical of him, but at least he's an Iron Man, if anything. And then finally, Alex Kappa, a third round draft pick. He's been a starting guard for the past couple of years now for the Buccaneers. That's kind of how Jason Light operates with his offensive line. And Ryan Jensen was a high tier free agent signing for the center position. So it is possible. I think it is more possible to find a replacement for Tristan Wirfs on the right side of the offensive line, right tackle, than saying if you just got rid of Donovan Smith and then you tried to replace him with somebody outside the organization. I feel that it would be a better scenario to say, okay, we need to get rid of Donovan Smith. Too much money. Let's move on from him. Let's just put Tristan Wirfs there rather than say, okay, let's move on from Donovan Smith and then let's go try and get a free agent and draft somebody. I feel like the better scenario would just be putting Wirfs there and then it'd be easier to try and find a right tackle replacement. What do you think?
I would say we have the same overall premise. The only thing I just want to say, I wrote down right here in all caps with an exclamation point, cannot re-sign Donovan Smith under any circumstances. That can't happen. So even if you keep him around for next year, in 2 years, we have to find someone, right? So within the next 2 years, it's Tristan Wirfs and a new guy. I think the only thing that the only difference really in my argument versus your argument is I'm saying instead of officially just making Tristan Wirfs the left tackle, you just kind of play it by ear with what's available because you never know. And if you have a guy, in my mind, if you have a guy who's a very good, let's just say a very good left tackle and a very good right tackle, and they're both available, and they're both going to cost about the same, and hypothetically, you could go either way, but you have both options there. I think it would be better to get the left tackle because I think you're just better off leaving a guy where you know he's comfortable and you know he can dominate. Why leave it up to chance that he's going to go learn, especially if you're talking about doing it in 2021? Because I think the big difference between 2021 and maybe 2023 is the expectations of the team, I think, will be very different. And potentially the style of quarterback play will be very different. So for the current makeup, I think Tristan Wirfs is just the absolute perfect right tackle for Tom. And for me, I think if you could find a left tackle, I would be more comfortable leaving him there. But obviously, within the next 2 years, it has to be somebody else because Donovan Smith, the human turnstile, okay, we've all seen it time and time again. It seems like it's at least once, twice, maybe 3 times a game where he just he gets embarrassed, and it's heartbreaking, honestly. And that chunk of change that you were talking about, no guaranteed money left, 1 year left, and then no progress being made.
And
So
and I will say this. I will say this, because people may say you can make the argument of, well, Bruce Arians loves Donovan Smith. And that is true. On every single comment that we have heard from Bruce Arians, minus one where he has said Donovan Smith had his worst game of my tenure here during one game where he had a really bad game. Bruce Arians has always been very positive when talking about Donovan Smith. He's an Iron Man. He's a workhorse. He goes in there, he works through all these injuries and things like that. That's great. At the end of the day, the NFL is a business. We're not saying that Donovan Smith's poor play could be the reason that he may get moved on from after this season. I think what we're kind of trying to say is that it would probably be more so a cap move, right? It would be more so a money move. We're not just saying, well, Donovan Smith's bad, so we need to get rid of him. Looking at it logistically from a money standpoint, they need money. They are going to need to re-sign guys. Gronkowski's on an expiring deal as well. I don't know if I mentioned him earlier. All these high-tier players who, in my opinion, probably have more weight to this organization than maybe Donovan Smith, because you have a replacement for Donovan Smith already on the team if you need to. So, like you said, playing it by ear, maybe it's a situation where they start off the offseason, they say, okay, we're just going to keep both these guys right now. We're going to try and re-sign everybody we can, and then let's see who makes it into free agency. Let's see who's available on that trade market. And then let's see what we can do in terms of maybe trading for somebody, maybe putting somebody out. Tom Brady might have a lot of say in this as well. If Tom Brady says, hey, Tristan Wirfs did great on the right side, why don't we try him on the left side for my second season here? That's something else that could have a lot of influence. What do you think?
And I think, talking about how we're not trying to criticize Donovan Smith's play a ton, my biggest thing, I don't want to insult the man's athleticism, because, and I've told this to you before, I think he would be so much better if he would kick inside to guard or switch with Tristan Wirfs and play right tackle. I think Donovan Smith's game would be incredible. If Donovan Smith was our left guard and Ali Marpet just went and played right guard or something like that, if Donovan Smith was a guard, he would be so solid. He would be a very good player. That's arguably the most frustrating part about Donovan Smith is he's got all the potential. He's got all the talent. And like you said, as much as I do criticize Donovan Smith, he does not miss games, and that's availability is the best ability. You can't play, then you can't help the team, and he does always play, and you can't take that away from him. You got to give him credit for that. He barely even misses snaps, let alone games. So you do have to give him his credit there. I just don't think he's a left tackle. I think he's a better suited to be an inside interior lineman or a right tackle.
Right, and again, while Donovan Smith does deserve criticism for his play, we're not saying that would be the main reason as to why a move like this would happen. I would say that money is the number one motivator, and then number two, they may genuinely feel that Tristan Wirfs could be an upgrade at left tackle over Donovan Smith. It would all just depend, and like you said, playing it by ear might be their best shot. But overall, guys, this is just kind of a speculatory thing from us, and we want your thoughts. So let us know down in the comment section below. Do you feel that Tristan Wirfs could be a future left tackle for this team as early as next season? Do you want to see Donovan Smith get moved on from? If so, why do you feel that needs to be the case? Is it money? Is it just because of his play? Is Tristan Wirfs going to be good at left tackle? Just give your thoughts about everything we mentioned down in the comment section below. Billy, I thank you for being a part of this video. It is greatly appreciated.
My pleasure. Love it.
Thank you. And as always, guys, I will have the link to Billy's Owen the Sea YouTube channel both in the comment section as well as the description of this video as well. But guys, thanks so much for watching this video. We hope you all enjoyed, and we will see you in the next video or the next live stream, guys. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs. See you guys soon.